And here it is in all its beauty, up against the fireplace, the henglong Jagdpanther. Glancing over the top of the tank, we get a nice view that the P-51 Mustangs would have had. Some notable highlights here are the engine deck with many vents, and the crew hatches. Here we are up close and personal with the 88mm gun. There are many hatches on the top of the tank. This first one that I'm opening up is to load the BBs in, and the second one is where you will place your IR sensor. Also on the back of the casemate of the tank is another access hatch in which you can stick crew members or have some access to the internals of the tank. On this Jagdpanther, there is a multitude of separately fitted pieces, including recovery equipment, spare tracks, and a recovery rope. A cute little detail on the top of the tanks are these periscopes that you can mount, and they kind of stick out to give the commander a better view of the battlefield. On the front of the tank, you can see these separately fitted recovery points. And roaming around to the back, we can see the exhaust system, and smoke does actually generate from these two stacks. We also have some more recovery points down below and a large antenna. The suspension on the tank, although not quite torsion bar, is fully sprung and individually sprung as well. And with introductions out of the way, let's get this thing out on the road. What could possibly go wrong here? And this is what it looks like when you leave a stick in for too long. Well, I am almost done editing this thing, and I have just realized the stick was on the wrong side. So clearly the bolt was just loose from the factory. Here, the Jagdpanther is unable to connect its sprocket to the track, and therefore will have to go back into the garage. These sort of things just kind of happen when you own a tank. However, I've never had one that happened this quickly. I have known for a long time, based on my other Panther tank chassis, that these idler wheels in the back from the factory come pretty loose, and that's what's happened here. Pretty quick fix. Shove a small screwdriver down there and align the screwdriver with the hole for the idler wheel, and bam, back on. However, I neglected to stop the tank after it originally occurred, and therefore you see how loose this track is, and you've seen in the video, or you will see in the video, that once this track was loose, you know, the idler sprocket decided to spin. And another side effect that has happened because of this is, since the track was loose, at occasions, since this isn't freely spinning and can get caught, the track would bunch up and would actually result in it clipping this small little wire down there. And so that's stripped away all the insulation and disconnected the positive cable to the headlight here. But these are all very simple fixes and shouldn't affect the tank too much in the long term. Here we can see the hole where the idler wheel goes into, and here is your idler wheel. Luckily, Henglong makes it so it's virtually impossible to lose one of these screws since it's stuck in there. And there's no way of getting it out without unscrewing the, unscrewing and undoing these two pieces. In my experience, the only hard part about this job is finding a screwdriver that will fit inside the hole. It is just a Phillips head. And we'll go ahead and screw this in as tight as we can. There we go, should be good. Give it a quick spin. And we're all fixed. As it turns out, it was actually our good friend, the negative wire, that turned out to be stripped and disconnected. The headlight design for this tank, as well as the Panther tank, is not my favorite. The chassis does disconnect from the top, and the fenders are actually part of the top of the chassis, which means that this little cutout right here has to be made in order for the headlight to have power. However, that makes it subject to jostling or, as we can see here, stripping from any tracks that aren't properly tensioned. And just like that, the track is back on. Idler sprocket nice and in there, as you can see by the teeth sticking out, and it is once again properly taut. Although the Jagdpanther did fail on his very first outing, I will say that I am very, very happy with it. A lot of the suspension issues, I've dealt with before, since I do have a Panther, so tuning those out shouldn't be too difficult. It should be noted that the gun barrel, unlike the real thing, does not traverse, what was it, like 15 degrees left and right, only up and down. However, when you do press the Travis turret button on the remote, it does emote a sound as if it is turning the turret. For the most part, I am very happy with the separately fitted features and the details on this tank. However, there are a couple of exceptions. I'm not a huge fan of these spotter scopes. They're very loose in here, and although I could certainly fit it in with glue, I don't really feel like it. I like it to be loose, well, loose enough, just in case they do break off so that I can replace them. Also up here, we do have two. However, it should be said that in some places the detail could use a little bit extra trimming. Like most tank destroyers, the Henglong Jagdpanther packs a punch. Its 6mm shooting BB gun is able to propel a projectile up to 25 meters. And this actually isn't the first Jagdpanther I've owned. Before I bought my Panther tank 6 years ago, I actually had one of these. However, it used the old 2.4 gigahertz system, and it would not turn on or connect. And I was very disappointed with it, and I decided that I didn't want a Jagdpanther. Obviously, I wanted the tank with a turret, and I went with that. However, finally, after 6 years, I've decided to update my opinion, and I am thoroughly impressed with this model. So then, is the Henglong Jagdpanther better as a door wedge or an RC tank? Well, clearly for the price, it's a pretty good deal. Although it does lack a turret, which may make it less interesting for first-time tank owners, the level of detail present on the Jagdpanther is, although in some spots rough, relatively good. Almost everything is there, and for the price, especially since the next jump up is ranging in the $300 to $700 range, the Henglong Jagdpanther is a steal of a deal. And if you're looking to have just a little bit of fun with it, its BB gun is one of the best that I've had in any of my other Henglong tanks, being able to reach the touted 25 meters. Although it should be noted that these BB systems can be modified, and I'm not sure if mine had been before. One thing to note is to be sure to check the instructions. I accidentally reversed my controls at one point while I was driving it. All in all, it's a very fun tank with excellent proportional steering and throttle control.